Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be doing a comparison. I don't think it's something I've actually done on the channel until now. Lots of people have asked on my Katar Pro video about what they should buy, either this or the Harpoon RGB. So I went onto Amazon and bought one. It took a little while to arrive, but I thought what we'd do is give you a comparison and kind of my thoughts at the end on which I think would be better. There's a few similar things and then a few key differences. So what I'm going to do is kind of lay out the specs. I've got a kind of spec sheet to my side as there's quite a lot to cover, and then you can kind of make an informed decision based on the information I give you. Hopefully it'll make things a little bit easier. So I did do a full review of the Katar Pro, which is on the channel. I'll put it on a card if I remember now, and I'll also link a full review of the Harpoon RGB. I haven't actually reviewed this and I don't plan to. This was only purely to make this video, but I'll put someone else's review should you want to check a real in-depth video out about the Harpoon. So currently, as I recording this video on the day it goes out, the Katar Pro is currently £45 and the Harpoon Wireless is £50, so literally a £5 difference. This one is an older model, whereas the Katar is a newer model. And you can tell by the packaging, I don't know if you have noticed recently, but Corsair have gone for a lighter yellow with the newer stuff, which is this one here. Gives it more of a contrast in the text. You can see on the overhead in comparison. It's quite, I don't know if the camera will pick it up necessarily, but the left is much more kind of orangey, and then the right's more fluorescent. So let's get into it. So I'll leave these so you can see what we're talking about, which is which. So I'll put the Katar on the left and then the Harpoon on the right. So both of these are quite small mice, really. They're very similar in size. I can give the exact specs. So the Katar Pro is 116 millimeters and the Harpoon is 116. The height of the Katar is 83, whereas you've got 45 on the Katar, slightly higher, and then the width is ever so slightly more on the Harpoon as well by 4 millimeters, 68 instead of 64. Personally, for me, holding both, I like the Harpoon better. Sits slightly higher, but for me, with my hands kind of sloping downwards, that's how I do prefer the feel of this one. I think where it kind of all kind of slopes in one, it kind of, I'm not really sure how to explain it, but kind of the way it slopes forward, to me, feels nicer on the Harpoon than the Katar. Do need to bear in mind I have got big hands. I'm probably on the XL size for hands on the sheet. I could comfortably use the Harpoon, whereas the Katar, I think over time it may get a little bit uncomfortable, and you'll notice that my fingers actually go off the edge of the buttons if I were to hold it properly, whereas this one, they don't. So point to the Harpoon there straight away. So let's jump into the big factor of these two mice. Let's go on the bottom. So both of these are using the same Pixart sensor. There's one big difference though. So as you can see, we've got the options for wireless with the adapter, Bluetooth on both. In the Harpoon, the little adapter's under there, whereas in the Katar, it's held in the top, but a very similar principle. But the one main big difference is the battery. So the Katar Pro uses a single AA battery, I think, which gives you about 30 hours, I think it was in total. A lot of people said that's not very long, but if you think about it this way, that you're not going to use this mouse for 30 hours continuously, unless you're on some kind of World of Warcraft South Park mission, then if you break it up, say you're maybe going to use it a couple of hours every day, it's a lot more justifiable. Whereas this one, of course, is rechargeable, and that's where this comes in, which is the cable. So underneath, and as I said, you've got the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi modes with 2.4G with the adapter. Now, the one benefit to this one is if I plug this in, alongside recharging the battery that's in it, because it's micro USB, by the way, you can use it wired when it's not even on, which is one thing I love. I love having a wireless mouse that gives me the option to use wired. That's just something that's really up my street. And if I turn on the Harpoon, sorry, the Katar, getting a little bit confusing, you can see the other factor in these mice, which is the RGB. The one on the left, we've got the profile light on the top, and then obviously this one where it's a rechargeable battery, and it's not really going to matter how much light, like how much you drain of the battery, because you can just recharge it. It's going to give you some RGB on the back, so there's a big factor there. Depends if you like RGB or not, if there's another factor. So you still got DPI switches, you still got the same number of switches on these mice as well. You've got 6 in total. You have got a scroll wheel click. It's got 25 notches on it, exactly the same. The same sensor with the exact same specs. There's literally very subtle differences with these mice. So yeah, as I mentioned in the start about the hand grips, so the Katar Pro is recommended for small, medium and large hands, whereas the Harpoon is recommended for small, medium, large and extra large, which I'd class myself as hands. And as I said, my fingers don't go over the edge, so +1 if you're a long boy like myself. So Pixar PWM 3325 sensors, both got 10,000 CPI, both got 6 buttons on. So going on to latency, gone are the days where wired is far superior to wireless. There's no difference in it anymore. Technology's come so far that the wireless transceivers are just so fast. So Katar Pro, 8 milliseconds of latency. With the Harpoon, you've got 9 milliseconds. So again, not going to be noticeable. I haven't noticed any latency issues when using both either. I did say in the Katar that this is really quite impressive with how snappy it is, and the Harpoon's been the same for all that I've done with it over the last couple of days or so. If you want to use it on Bluetooth, which you probably use it more on a laptop for Bluetooth if you're going to be out and about, maybe gaming, commuting, on a holiday maybe. I don't think you'd probably use it Bluetooth primarily if you're going to have it in a PC, because you'd probably just use the adapter. But the Katar is 11 milliseconds, whereas the Harpoon is 16. It does drop the latency down on the Harpoon if you use it wired mode to 7 milliseconds. But again, you know, 7 milliseconds to this to 8 to then 9 on wireless, you're not going to notice it. Last couple of things, the IQ software, you can customize the LED color here in the software and on there. And of course on the Harpoon on the back, you have got the color RGB that you can set. I've got a color wave, just something I like, but of course you can set that to whatever you fancy. One last thing to mention is the Katar has onboard memory, whereas the Harpoon doesn't. So if you do want to transfer profiles, you will need the software, but it does have DPI settings, which will probably cover most bases on that anyway. So personally, here's what I think. I used the Katar, obviously I reviewed the Katar 6 weeks, 2 months ago maybe. After getting in the Harpoon, I've loved this, I really have. Used it on my PC for the last couple of days just to get a feel for it before I made this video, and personally, I'm pretty sure this is going to stay on my desk. I use an MX Master for most of the time when I'm at work, so it's not a gaming mouse that I generally use. But I love the ability to be able to charge this, you know, and use it, you know, when it's not even on. You still got all the illuminations and all the controls while you charge it. You can have that wireless freedom if you want it as well. I'm not really sure about the battery life because I've only just got it, but I will like put that down in the description box or something. And just a slight variation in texture, actually, just one small thing to note. But as someone with big hands, the Harpoon is a lot more comfortable for me. The Katar is not a mouse that large-handed people would probably be looking at in the first place. So the big thing for me is the use of this AA in the Katar Pro. This is something that I really had a bit of a dig on when I did the Katar review, was the end of last year. And at the time I said that 2020 we shouldn't really be seeing AA's. People do say they use them for longevity purposes, especially when you see some keyboards that are still using AA's as well. But for me, I like a rechargeable battery, and the fact that there's a £5 difference in this, I would say that this Harpoon RGB is the one I'd personally pick. The other thing that I did want to mention is people that don't game as much, but they still want the wireless freedom and you want to save a little bit of money, sure, go for the Katar, because you know, you do save a little bit of money, and if you're not going to be gaming for hours and hours and hours on end, battery's not going to hurt. However, I really do think for currently £5, I think the gap was a little bit more. It was about 15 a few weeks ago when I looked at these, when I actually bought this Harpoon. £15 a little bit more debatable, but if it's currently, you know, £5 difference, definitely spend it and get the rechargeable battery in the Harpoon. By the way, that braided cable is very nice as well, 2 meters. So I think that's all I want to say in this video. I'm just going to have to cut this down quite a bit to try and get rid of the waffle. But that's pretty much it, £5 difference. And personally for me, the Harpoon RGB is what I would pick. So hopefully this has been helpful for you all. If you've got any more questions, then do leave them in the comments box and I'll get back to you, because there are a few things that you may want to know. So I shall help you out. If you enjoyed this video and it was helpful to you, then be sure to subscribe and ding the bell so you don't miss a video. Big thank you to Corsair for sending out the Katar Pro and then making this video possible. Also for the people that commented that they wanted this kind of comparison. Hopefully it's helpful. Thank you all for watching, guys. I'll see you all in the next one.